Alright, it's my third time retake shooting this video. So those who click on this video, you guys already know the terminology and guys already know who you are. For those who doesn't know, AWALT means all women are like that. NAWALT means not all women are like that. AWALT is more of like a feminist ideology. You have a choice, you do whatever you want, you don't need to rely on men, or even when you do, you can later in life, but focus on whatever you do. It's all about like hypersexuality. It's all about delaying childbearing. It's all about like just it's about cheating or whatever it is. NAWALT is more, it's different. NAWALT is pretty much just saying I don't value that sort of stuff. I want to be a housewife or a housemaker. I just want to follow traditional roles, and I'm more than happy to have worked in a family that is under patriarchal mindset, where guys is the breadwinner, or perhaps women's a breadwinner as well. Both of them are breadwinners. We can talk about that as well. I don't care. And today's world is different. So, a bit of background history about myself. I'm currently studying Bachelor of Social Work. I'm sorry, I'm talking fast because I got a train that I need to make a needs. So, I'm currently studying Bachelor of Social Work. I'm not lefty. I'm not a social justice warrior. I'm not bleeding heart do-gooders. I just wanted to help people because I myself have extensive life experience to go through, and I wanted to give back to the community, and 50% of the population is men, and I really want to help men, especially boys as well. I really want to help them out. But I started, before I went to Bachelor of Social Work, I went from Cert 4 and Diploma of Community Service Development. It wasn't strongly emphasized of feminists until I reached to domestic violence or family violence unit. And yeah, that's a bit about myself. And the Facebook messages on the side, you guys kind of see it. My classmate, he's a guy, and he was complaining that he was the only dude, and it was based on a feminist tutorial class, and he got wrecked really hard, and I was laughing my head on, saying that, yeah, you're the stupid one who stayed back. But yes, I'm in the breeding zone with the feminists and everything. Now, I am not everything against it. I'm more for the second wave feminists. I'm not for the new ones. But yeah, let's get straight. So these are the two books that really got me into, brought my horizon on the traditional values, NAWALT values as well. It's just, I wish that my parents who gave me that sort of acknowledge or things like that, or role models can provide me that, or people around me should tell me about this. But no, they talk about it, but they don't tell me the reason behind and things like that. So you try to go, this is boring, everyone's doing the same thing. So yeah, Levinson theory is based on human development, and is strongly emphasized with the adult development, broaden the vision of Erikson. So Erikson's have 8 stages, but not strongly emphasized. With adult stages, more emphasized with the infant adolescent stages. And there's a lot of theories that does the same thing: Freud, Piaget, Vygotsky, Bandura, and you guys name the rest. So this is a scenario that I'm currently doing for my assessment. So a 21-year-old man has moved from Netherlands to Melbourne last year, and is living in student accommodation. He has been recently experiencing anxiety symptoms. I wonder why. Because he's in the relationship 6 months. 24-year-old saying that talk about marriage. Okay, I get that. They are currently looking for a house so they can live together, but why he feels too young to settle down and wants to experience life first. But he said he feels too young, but he did not say it right in front of her. But why he's going through anxiety is symptom. Now, based on this, my assumption as well, based on the looking at the attachment types, which I pretty much uploaded a video before this. So if you look at it, check on that first to understand the attachment type. So under this, he'll be under ambivalent attachment type, and this attachment type, as a child, he has inconsistent of attention from parents, or caring, attend to his needs and everything like that. And when he goes to adult age, things just gone really different. So if you have inconsistencies when the baby, studies has shown on that, based on that theory, I forgot what's that theory called, attachment. It's not Bowlby, it's Mary Ainsworth, and there's another one, not Mary Mays, it's another one. Oh gosh, I forgot the title. I pretty much will write it down here if I have a chance. Saying that once he grows adult, getting a relationship, he's, based on this anxiety symptoms. So based on ambivalent attachment type is just that they're very clingy. People might say they have an immature mentality. They just love the urge of the closeness, the hugginess, the kisses, the intimate, and they just want to dependent on the opposite sex. If he feels abandoned or going through a breakup, he feels anxiety because of he doesn't want to be isolated, abandoned. Under this scenario, it sounds more like it. I can't say it's 100%, but this is where I'm going, and this is what assessment has to go through. I'm pretty sure you guys are saying, well, a 24-year-old girl and 21-year-old guy, there's a huge contrast here. He's just currently in education, where the 24-year-old, those who finish bachelor will pretty much will enter the marriage stage. No, I'm not saying marriage, but complete their bachelor degree, right? Or not. I'm just speculating, right? And they're looking, and why he doesn't talk about that. So, and he wants to experience life. Now, based on this book saying that, I don't know how to pronounce this. NAWALT, I don't know how to say it. Is it French? I don't know. Saying that for a guy, for early adult transition, which is talking about at the age of 17 to 22, saying that a guy should, should understand, develop, and things like that, moving out of the house. No, I'm not saying be prepared, identify what he needs to do and things like that. 22 and afterwards, I try to, build, moving out the house, building independencies, knows how to compete and study, find occupation, compete with the rat race world, acknowledge how to build that sort of skills up before entering a marriage stage. Now, based on this, is saying that if this man, based on this theory, Levinson saying is that if this man, right, married to this chick right now, he hasn't established, because based on this theory, based on this scenario, he's currently living in student accommodation. To be in the student accommodation, it means you just finish either uni or you're still in uni, and he hasn't built that sort of knowledge, independency skills. Maybe he hasn't moved out of home in Netherlands. Maybe this is the first time he moved out from his parents, and he's maybe anxiety because of that, experiencing real life adult, and or perhaps just going through this fear of this abandon. So now you understand if an early transition. Now based on the girl, this is why I'm more emphasized on this topic, and this is the reason why I want to talk about NAWALT today. Now we'll talk about more deeper about this one. So a woman only engage in special relationship during their childhood, adolescent, and before transition to adult, which is a relationship with probably with brothers, to opposite sexes, usually brothers, male relative, or fathers, right? So they rarely encounter opposite sex. The same with the guys as well. We rarely encounter, based on this study. I'm not saying about today's world, but we'll talk deeper about that. Mostly if they want to encounter opposite sex, it's usually the peer age group, working, education, school, or dating, but things like that. But if a woman who doesn't engage in a relationship, or rarely engage in a relationship during early transition adulthood, now I'm referring that as well with adolescent, if she doesn't engage or she doesn't do much, then it pretty much she has stronger urge of getting relationship after adult age, which she is 24, according to Levinson's 13 to 22. After 22, that's the entering the adult world. She finds a relationship, pretty much what I'm saying. So if she delays her relationship intimacy, she finds there's a different meaning of a relationship, and when she finds a potential partner, You find love, sustainable wisdom, and just aspects sustainable, hurt each other, admire, excite. It's like they're choosing the husband material, and with the adding of the culture, ideally to live happy ever after under marriage, or as well with the Hollywood fairy tale films. Thank you, Disney. Potentially engage in a marriage. Um, One thing that most of our mentors or people out the world doesn't talk about this is that engaging in love relationship isn't important, and as well it's one of the most painful part of adulthood, getting a relationship, and nobody talks about this because we talk about all this about getting a girl is great, bragging with your boys. I'm like, yeah man, I break up with this chick, I make this chick did that, and this girl said that, oh I make this guy did this, blah 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 blah, break up with him. But nobody talks about the painful side of it. It's like you lost. It's like you're going through loss and grief after you break up, whether it's a good term, whether both sides get hurt or neither of the sides gets hurt, and it is painful to go on a relationship, and it's part of development. Like I said, those who I'm going through the notes, and like those who doesn't date much, and when they go on a romantic relationship, they fantasize loving men and more loving, intimate relationship, marriage as a concrete way of life. So if you delay your dating world, your dating life to after that, that's the stuff that you viewed as, right? So young woman only saw two possible options once complete schooling: marriage or being a single working woman. Not marriage soon enough will outcome have create a disaster of end up being an old mate, which the MGTOW and the red pill, you call it hit the wall. Oh gosh, the vacuum cleaner is getting closer and closer. Okay, schooling, and after schooling, pressure to get married, and getting relationship with a man occurs, and it's very blindly to look into it. Woman got involved in a relationship, early marriage, desired outcome. So after that particular age, after they don't experience much of that, that's the outcome they're going through, and that's the device, right? So both sexes, right? I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm sorry. Is it French or anything? NOVICE. So would they go through and explore that? Oh gosh, I missed my. Oh gosh, don't worry about it. We'll go next one. I just missed my bus, so don't worry about it. I'll go next one. It's just that going through all this, and pretty much what they're saying is that if you delay or lost your virginity at a later age, you're more secure and you more value marriage and things like that with NAWALT values. Now, being a virgin, it's like you're behind of being adulthood. And those who are in high school or they just can't wait to get rid of that virginity so they can pass the stage saying that, you know what, I'm a man or I'm a girl or I'm a woman. I already lost my virginity, and prove to everyone, and everyone has that sort of peer pressure. I'll probably lose mine as well. Blah blah blah. And now both sex has engaged in more relationship and at a younger age, and break up, make up, cheating. Risky sex, and as well finally she finished. It's just gone through all that, but if you delay all that, it turns out great. And the feminist is like, you know what, you don't need to rely on men, you need to focus, you have a choice, you own your own body, you do whatever you want, you don't need to rely on men, things like that. Get an education, get a job, and compete with the men, and as well make sure they get into sexual harassment, so you can pretty much get him sacked and you can take over his position. So that's pretty much today's world. But once they reach to their 30s and the 35s, you know, they start to be like, oh shit, my eggs are dying, I'm hitting the wall. And and they start to realize, shit, I'm being career educated, driven. It's a bit too late for them to wanting to get into marriage or homemaker or being a wife. Where I know most of the media, I read people videos saying, oh, you know what, the guys, they're gonna pump and dump these girls, and if they have the choice to get married, they can marry a younger girl, which they have a higher fertility rate, and the eggs are in the prime stage, right? 24, something like that. And yeah, so, but looking at this scenario, looking back, I know I've been going trace back and forth. It can be the cultural norm or expectation or the peer pressure, or her friend circles are, or they want to fight who wants to get married first or things like that, and you're stressing out the guy. And if the guy, that I mentioned before, if he doesn't build his skills up, oh boy, he's gonna struggle really hard down the track. When he struggle. And what I mean by struggle is he hasn't learned to build independent skills, living on his own, or you know, building up the complexity, or try to compete in this rat race world, whether in work or trying to achieve higher salary, higher position. And if this man gets married right now, it will be a lot more complication because he hasn't developed that sort of skills. And I mentioned before, he's depending on this girl based on that attachment type. And this girl sees it as, oh my god, this is a potential guy. He does everything for me, he loves me, he wants me, he can't live without me. And he's a potential. And now he's talking about, oh, I want to experience life first. And this is why these two books are very, very vital to understand for where you're coming from and this and that. Now I know this is like, oh, this is outdated, Will. And you're right, it's outdated. But it's the element there are still relevant in today's world. If you look at it, you build up your skills and you do this and that. And unfortunately, today's world, when they see an alpha male or alpha girl or woman or whatever you guys call it nowadays, they don't see it as the master or PhDs. They see them as the good looking, right? The good looking, the ones is charm, the ones is good looking, maybe look muscular, you know, got a good job, a decent job. And all the girls in the office or all the girls in the industry wanted that same guy. And that's the alpha guy. But if you look carefully with the PhDs and the master's students, or those who are coming from that sort of background, they tend to not to be the attractive one, right? They tend to be like, you know, like better looking, better type looking, better male or better female looking, like, you know, they're not looking strong, muscular, attractive. And this is going, but both sexes value the good looking ones and this and that. Studies has shown those who experience early puberty out of the age norm will tend to have go on more dates and tend to have more intimacy and tend to have in emotional fulfillment because they are ready. They're already developed the facial hair or pubic hair, or you know, breast is growing bigger or hips are growing bigger, and it's the attractiveness, the hypersexuality is kicking in. And when that early puberty and when they enter the dating world, then oh boy, they keep on dating, cheat, Tinder, or whatever nowadays what you call it, Facebook dating, online dating, just, or dating all the hot guys in your school or whatever. Down the track, their education level plumped and the surviving rate plumped, and they most likely suffer most of the social problems. Increased rate, and that's based on research. And if you look at the Tinder statistics, age 18 to 24 is the highest user rate comparison all the ages. They're the peakest rate. They talk about 24 to 33 down there, 33 to, I don't know, 40 something, bang, and 45 to 70 whatever, bang, it's even lower. So 18 and 24, and I already said to you guys, like, more and more young people are wanting to dating well, or just trying to be freaky and at an early age, will tend to be not going too well. And if you could go to like any university, top university, or you go university and you look at, if you look at the lectures or tutorials, you look at them and like, they're not good looking. I'm saying the ones straight out of high school, right? Even the ones that are good looking, if you look at, usually they don't have large breasts or a large hips. They tend to have small, but they may have a good face. But if you talk about early puberty, that's different, right? It develops even stronger. You've got early stages, early years. Unfortunately, girls and guys, especially girls, are early developed out of the age norm a lot more than today's world. And this is what comes in with the R's and K's, genes for selection, the rabbits and wolves, right? They're just too busy just doing their thing, relationship, and it's all about the sexual needs, and they make bad choices, divorce, or nowadays we call it AWALT, you know. She got you knocked up, baby trapped. Guys are thinking about vasectomy, getting a snip. Or girls are nowadays trying to get roids on their arm, and so they can't get their eggs fertilized in a year with unprotected sex. It's just, and Australia is being the world toppest Google search on IVF. It just rings a lot of alarm. Basically, what these theories are talking about is on your early adulthood or adolescent, don't whore, stop pimping or hoeing or being a fuckboy or anything, and focus what you need to achieve to go on adulthood. And what happened if you go opposite? It's what I'm seeing nowadays with all these red pills and MGTOW videos or gender wars, hating each other. It's just mind blowing. It really is. They don't see the alpha male as being the master degree, PhD, or perhaps a bachelor degree if this field is not strongly in feminist field. And this is the problem with, nobody talks about this. And when I watch videos from Stefan Molyneux, when middle age or midlife crisis callers call in, or those who have accidental kids births, they called in and they regret, and those who are divorced single mothers, they regret. And this is what they've been given to them, and it sucks. I hope this video kind of broaden your your views and things like that, and saying not all everyone is like that. It's smaller number, and those who have committed values and everything, it's tough. So these are the books. It's great. I really highly recommend you guys to borrow or buy it. I reckon you should have a copy of these and go through it, and if you wanted to have a better understanding on to anything. And it's difficult in today's world with all this feminists. It's all about gender politics, political correctness. It's even harder in today's world. What is creating guys and no, guys and women do not interact with each other, and it's creating even more and more, and it's creating segregation. It's creating like there's a lot of hate. People fear of getting the job sacked or job loss, or those who even have different political views, whether you're Trump or Hillary. And I learned it in a hard way, saying I go for Trump right in front of my class, and everyone just hated me. We live in a very difficult world. Is there any more that I need to cover? I cover genes war selection, beta, omega, alpha. You guys kind of understand what I'm trying to say here. Oh boy. It's kind of sad that a lot of the MGTOW and Red Pill video does talk full depth understanding. It's all talk about the same concept over and over again. And those those who didn't get in a relationship at a young age and haven't lost the gene at what everyone's norm is, then you're out of the dating world for the rest of your life. And this is where I blame the feminist comes in now. Allowing the state controls their private lives, family lives, give them individualism, and it's not based on collectivism, it's not based on surviving rate. If you look at Erickson's one of the series is I think around the late 30s and 40s, middle 40s, people thinking of are they happy with their life, or should they make it better of their life by divorce or going separate ways? And that's where divorce is kicking in. But now people don't even bother to think about married or getting a relationship. And it's just a domino effect. I just saw it even bigger and bigger and bigger, a domino effect. It's sad. It's very tough to be a guy to live in this society, to be honest. Especially me, especially my course is so heavy on feminists, and well, it's important to understand intersectionality and all this stuff, and understand like what they're trying to say and everything. Whether I agree or not, I had to do it. I feel like a species that shouldn't be survived. Each time I walk out of the course and making YouTube videos, just uncode, understand a lot more, decode it, know what's the goods and the bads and everything. But yeah, each time I came back from these courses, it's tough. What the reality world is, and yeah, it's tough for a guy to do social work or any heavy dominated women's industry. But I'm definitely in the front line. Social work is very front line. And everywhere I go, virtual signaling, and as well the harassment, the rape. You can say no, this and that. Everywhere I go, I see that. Everywhere I go, I get to see a lot. Even more. It makes more sense. I think it's a trend nowadays. It wasn't like this before, but every single university is a rape campus. It's just frustrating. I just want to do it because it makes more sense. Because I'm still, even though I'm 28, I'm still at the beginning of NAVOICE. Gosh, NOVICE. That I wanted to build my education, and I wanted to prolong my surviving rate. Whether I want to get married or want to get a girl, I don't see that happening. I just want to improve my surviving rate. And I'm only saying this because I came from a broken family, and I see a lot of my family went through, and I don't see that. And somehow I stumbled across with Red Pill and MGTOW. It just makes a big hit. One of my classmates, he's a guy as well. He comes from unbroken family, intact family. Coming from a middle low class family, goes through private school, and I was shocked that he's like me, thinking about his MGTOW and things like that. But I try to keep a distance. It's just too much, especially where I'm going for a study at the moment. It's just too much to bear. It sucks to be a guy to study university nowadays, especially me, studying social work. So I don't want to come across feelings matters videos, but you guys can't understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah, this video's so long.